The longest video I've ever done was the top 50 runners of the decade. It was a monster. I hope I will never do something like that again, because I remember being up at like 3 a.m. drinking coffee. Like, what am I doing with my life?
You are not going to succeed unless you fail. Like, if you're not failing, then that means you're not getting anywhere. Like, you're never going to succeed if there wasn't any failures. And we definitely have had our share of failures when it comes to videos and YouTube up and down.
We want to go into Andy's crystal ball here. We need some hot takes. We need some predictions for the 2021 season.
No pressure.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beer Mile podcast. I'm Adam with my co-host Chris. Today we talk to Eunice and Andy of Total Running Productions. We talk about how they started their YouTube channel, as well as a bit more detail into their personal lives. We also learn how to properly drink tequila from one of the tequila royalty herself, Eunice.
Absolutely. She has some great advice for those that are over 21 only. We also get some great deets on predictions for 2021 running and the Olympics, where Total Running Productions is going next, and their takes on all of our closing questions from the Last Gulp. The hot takes that you're not gonna wanna miss. Make sure you listen all the way through. There's some great gems in there, some little Easter eggs, even though it's Christmas time. And one edit/correction in advance of the interview. During our interview with Eunice and Andy, we talk about our video for the 100-mile bike ride on a divvy, which is the Chicago rideshare public bikes. That actually came out last week. It's not coming out in the future, so make sure if you haven't seen that yet, go back, watch our last video, the 100-mile bike ride on the divvy bikes, the Chicago rideshare bike. We are raising money for esophageal cancer research, and so every like that video gets, we're gonna donate $1 to cancer research. So share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your dogs, anyone who has a YouTube account. We really appreciate the support.
If you wanna see more of the Peanut Gallery, AKA Jax, Chris's wife, comment on that video, and maybe there's an opportunity for her to interview in a future podcast.
That's true. We're all about Easter eggs. We're all about little plugs here and there. So if you slip in a comment on that divvy ride video, something about the rising star that joins Adam and I on the bike ride, my wife Jax, slip in a comment there, let us know that you're a true fan, and yeah, you'll probably get some swag as well. We're in the giving mood. It's the holiday season, so we love the support, we love the communication. Reach out to us. Alternative ways to get in touch if you're not a fan of the YouTube comments for whatever reason and feeling uninspired. We do have an email where you can reach out to us personally in the description. We also have the ability to leave a voice message on our anchor page for the Beer Mile podcast. So if a listener leaves us a voice message, we're actually able to easily splice it into the podcast.
Oh, that's so cool.
Any questions, comments, you leave a voice message. We haven't had one yet, so no matter what, we promise we will put it in as long as you aren't saying something completely just, profanity, discriminatory, we'll probably put it in. So leave us a voice message there. We'll shout you out. We'll let you on the podcast.
Chris, do you want to quickly announce our winners from last episode?
Absolutely. So we announced a couple episodes ago that we're doing a giveaway every single episode for those that comment on the YouTube video version of this podcast, or if you share on your Insta story the audio version. Our 4 winners from the episode with Ali Ostrander and the Athlete Special, episode 9. Make sure you check it out if you haven't. Muntoast, Jim O'Connor, Sarah Schultz, and Asian Sensation. You 4, thank you for your comments. Thank you to everyone for your comments, but you 4 in particular, you happen to win the random generator that we use to pull out your names. So DM us at the Beer Mile on Instagram. That's the_beer_mile on Instagram. We'll send you some swag, courtesy of beermile.com. Thank you again for the support, for liking, for subscribing, for commenting. And similarly, if you comment on this video as well, you'll be entered automatically into winning some free swag from beermile.com.
And with that, we hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome to the show, Total Running Productions. We're excited to have you on.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
We're super excited to be here.
So first of all, congratulations on the engagement. Do you want to provide any story on how it all went down?
I would love to. So first off, the rock. Oh, it's beautiful.
I haven't done my nails, so I have to show it like this.
Yeah. No nails.
So we actually just realized, we were talking before we started, that today is the 1 month anniversary when she said yes. So,
and we actually haven't made it public. So
oh yeah,
we were planning on doing it in like maybe yesterday, and then we
should have
forgot. So we are making it public very soon. So
it'll be public before this podcast goes out. You've got a week or so.
That's good motivation. Yeah.
No pressure.
So
you can tell it.
Yeah, since I was there for it, I'll go ahead and say it. So was he. No, but so it's been like, we've actually had a little bit of a tough time. So my mom lives with us, and she was like in the hospital, and but she was just going for a checkup, and so Andy didn't know that I was gonna come home without her, right? So she went for a checkup, and then they were like, oh, she has to be admitted. And so I was like, okay. So, anyway, I came home, and then Andy had like set up the proposal. But then when I came home, he was like, I don't know if I should do it because, my mom just came out of the hospital. I mean, just got, admitted. And so, but while I was there, like my family has like a family WhatsApp. And while we were, in there, we were talking, and then my brothers and sisters, they decided it's called Padilla Kids. They were like, decided to add him to the Padilla Kids WhatsApp because he helps out with my mom, and like he relays information. And so then he was like, so when I came home and he noticed that he got added, he was like, this is a sign. Yeah, I have to do it.
It was like already being a part of the family. I'm like,
he was like, yeah, I'm not going to stop now. I'm not going to. So he actually did a scavenger hunt, and it was very confusing because he started off the first clue was
I made text. So many great details.
Weird. We finished watching a movie, and then he was like,
I might still have it in
like,
there.
Hey,
I got this text.
I got this weird text, and it was like Finding Nemo that we watched. And then it was like, this text says something about, and I was like, this is really weird. Like, I don't know what are you, and then I was like, it's just spam. Like, that's like insisting that I pay attention to this. It's spam. Clearly it's spam. Because it said, dear friendly scavenger hunter, you've been selected to play in our new awesome and exciting scavenger hunt. Now that you're done watching Finding Nemo, head to the mailbox for your very first clue. And I was like, what the heck is
How do they know we watched Finding Nemo?
Yeah, it's a little creepy. These spammers.
It was weird. And it went all over the place. And one of the clues was in my work phone. Like, I don't even know. Like, I was like, when did you get a hold of my work phone?
I went digital on it.
But anyway, no. So then, I really had no clue. At the end, at the last clue, I was like, I don't know what's happening right now. And then all of a sudden I turn around, and he'd had his like TRP hoodie.
Oh yeah, I did.
And then I turned around, and he was like wearing a suit, and I was like, what the heck? And then I realized what was happening. And I had when I got home, I was freezing, and I had a dress on underneath, but like I was cold. So I put some bunny-footed pajamas on.
Oh, it was a beautiful onesie.
And so I had a bunny-footed pajama onesie, and he was here with like his whole suit on. So I was like, oh, and luckily I still had that dress underneath. So I like pulled the pajamas off, and then he was just like, he did the whole thing. So it was a really, really interesting,
It was different.
Well, so the thing is, I always thought that I wanted like this huge like announcement. Like, I want everybody to see it. Yeah. Like, you better not. But like, it was just so intimate, and it was super sweet. And and I was for a second, I was like, you could have picked better timing in my head. I didn't tell him that. But you could have picked better timing. And then he explained to me like why he did it that day anyway. And I was like, oh my God, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it just felt right,
It was like time. So
yeah, being
I know that was kind of a long story. But it was
No, that's great. That's some great creativity in the times of COVID to make something exciting out of being at home. I like that.
Exactly.
That was the motivation. I knew she wanted something public, more people involved, but we don't really go out in public. We're certainly not going into crowds. So it's like, let's find an alternative. And it worked out well. She said yes, which I'm really pumped about.
There we go.
I had mine too. No, I'm just kidding.
So did the two of you meet in college at University of Georgia, or how did the two of you meet?
We did.
I'm impressed.
How did you know that?
Oh, we do our due diligence.
We do our due diligence. I know your degrees. I know
that was really good. Yeah.
There's like 0.1% of the population that even knows that. But yeah, we actually met. Let's see, my sophomore year, both of our sophomore years, and we met in linguistics class.
That's my junior year, but I ended up not graduating till then.
Got to get that right.
We graduated together.
Okay.
So yeah, go ahead. You can.
Oh yeah.
You can
I mean,
sorry.
I love looking back at it because the odds of us meeting in the first place were like very unlikely. Because I actually switched majors that semester. She had to replace she took the class previously, but had to drop it for personal reasons. Because she made an A in the class, so she definitely is capable of making an A in it. But and we were next to each other, and we had fun in that class the entire semester.
But we actually didn't start dating.
Yeah, we didn't start dating.
That was in 2011.
That was 2011.
We started dating in 2016.
Yeah, it was a connection after half of a decade. And I mean, she sent me one text, and honestly, I was ecstatic because I hadn't really kept up with her at all. Because
he went off to grad school at Tulane in New Orleans, and I immediately after I graduated I started working for a law firm in Atlanta, and so we didn't keep up at all, and I just so happened to
the phone story.
Yes, so I changed my phone because
it's so great.
I guess my phone broke, and so I switched back to iPhone. So I'm actually now I have a Samsung again, but so I got a new phone, and this time I got like an iPhone or I don't know, I got a different platform, and so whenever I logged in to my account, it suddenly brought back all of these numbers from that just old numbers that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I was waiting at a McDonald's for them to get me some food. I was on my way to get a passport
so good
at the Atlanta office. And I just randomly grabbed my phone and I was looking like, oh, wow, I have a lot of different contacts. And of course, Andy is at the top of the list. Mm-hmm. You're lucky your parents named you Andy.
Oh, yeah.
And not
most people do call
Zachary
me
or something.
If it was, for real though, the A helped.
So I texted him. I literally was like, hey, Andy, how's it going? That's it. And 25 seconds before I sent it, he responded and was like, whoa, Eunice, how are you? Oh my gosh.
I miss you so much.
Yeah. And then we just started talking. He actually was living in South Carolina at the time.
Oh yeah, I was in Charleston.
He wasn't even living
He wasn't in Georgia.
In Atlanta yet. Again.
Yep.
He hadn't come back. He didn't come back.
just 8 months later, then I moved back.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah. That's a long time to go and then reconnect. That's really cool.
Yeah. We really got along. We would study together sometimes, it was never just me and him. It was with a group of friends, that we would study together. But he tried flirting, but I was like, okay.
I tried. I didn't succeed.
He succeeded. But
so while you were at the University of Georgia, Andy, I think you were the founder of their club running team. Is that correct? And I believe
one of them. I'm assuming there was some LinkedIn diving that went on here.
So Adam and myself went to Iowa State University and were part of the running club there. Went to the NERCA races, NERCA Nats, everything. So definitely had to bring that up. And so wanted to get your perspective on NERCA as a whole, the club running scene. How did it treat you in your time in college?
Well, it was weird being at UGA because, this is football country, so running is just drastically underserved. But the cross-country team at Georgia is great. When I was there, they made it to nationals. They had multiple guys, breaking 14 minutes for 5K, but like for the running club team, I'll admit I just straight up wasn't fast enough to make the team at UGA. I actually tried out my freshman year and got kind of clobbered. Like they were really good runners. So I kept running, and then like you mentioned, I joined the running club, and they were in this weird like limbo. It like was going out of like the club status, like it had to be reinstated. And so like I came in and I was like, let's get it reinstated. So, like we made a pitch to the club sports team association, I guess. Man, I haven't thought about this in years. And I mean, they made us reinstate, they reinstated us. They gave us some funding, but we actually didn't get the funding to even get jerseys. So I had to like personally buy the jerseys for us to go to the regional race in, I think it was North Carolina, which I ran terribly in. But it was an interesting experience because it finally gave me an outlet to like race again. Cause I hadn't raced since high school other than like, your occasional 5K, 10K weekend race. I mean, I made some great friends and the structure was interesting. I really didn't get super involved. I mean, I saw you had a few posts on it many years back about NERCA's stature in the running community. How would you look at it? I'm curious because I really didn't have that much exposure.
Yeah. So for us, I felt like, well, especially for me, that NERCA was a great fallback, I guess you could say, from not running D1. So it's a very similar story. I tried out for the Iowa State team my freshman year and didn't make it. And so joined the club running team. And our team at Iowa State was actually really good and consistently would place pretty high at nationals for NERCA. So from my perspective, it was like the perfect stepping stone from high school to still being able to train with guys that were running, 25 flat for 8K and having people faster than me to train with, and then still actually getting the chance to go to races, but in an atmosphere that was a lot less pressure, I guess, and less time commitment, less everything than what a D1 program would be. So overall, I mean, it's one of my fondest memories of college is being able to train with those club running guys, still compete, but then also have a lot of fun with it too.
That's very similar to mine as well.
Yeah, I feel like starting a club is kind of like it complicates things. Like for my background, I started at the University of Kansas, very similar, like was walking onto the team, and then there was like I think it was like an 18-mile run, and like 13 miles into it, I was like, yeah, like fuck this, I'm done.
I have a very similar story, like similar. The guys finished 18 miles and I dropped out right around the half marathon point, and they were like going sub 6, just easy. I'm like, well,
I'm like, this isn't for me. Like this is pretty hardcore. And like, we woke up at 4:30 today. Like this is hard.
Exactly. So did you, for your club then, did you go to, I know your club went to XC at least a couple of times. I remember seeing you there. Did you also do like the half marathon in the spring or track nationals in Indiana at all? Or was XC really the only race you guys did as a club?
Yeah, we really only did XC. You said you saw me there. Did you actually?
Not you specifically.
Okay.
I remember Georgia but we definitely overlapped. I was 2010 through 2014 going to the races. So we definitely overlapped at the same meets, but there's like 1,000 people there. So
yeah, I might be able to pick up like in the depths of the internet a few pictures from when I was running there.
Right.
Because my college experience was 2009 to 2013.
Okay, yeah.
And I think we only went once, but we rarely did anything on the track. I remember once I ran a few races just in like the open meets at UGA, and they were like, 2 of the UGA track club members there, me and like a few guys at one point. It just wasn't a thing. Like again, like where we are in the South, football is so unbelievably prevalent everywhere, and it just shadows over many Olympic sports. I mean, that was, you may have seen it. We went to Clemson to try and help them out. Their team got cut. There's it's so football down here. It's just culture. It's like religion. They put down their Bible to watch football.
And their Bible's number 2.
Exactly.
Very true.
I like football. It's just running's good too.
Exactly. It's good to have a balance. Do you run as well, Eunice?
I do sometimes. I've never been a runner. Like I I would run like, I used to live in Colorado, actually. So
wow.
when I lived in Colorado, I actually got into running for a little bit, just because my sister was doing it. And I remember the first time when I first moved there, I had been living in Kentucky, and I moved to Colorado with my sister. She was in the Air Force there, and we went outside and went for a run, and I was like, something's wrong with me. I didn't know I was this out of shape. Like, something's going on. And my sister's like, no, it's okay. I'm like, no, it's not okay. You don't understand. I can't even breathe. Like, I'm this out of shape. She's like, no, it's the altitude. Like, people train here because it's so hard to run here. But so, yeah, I mean, I ran for like a couple years. I would run pretty consistent, but then that was it. Like, and when I met Andy, I mean, not when I met him, when we started dating, I remember, actually one time we were supposed to go out to lunch when we were in college, and he was like, well, I'm not going to be able to go because I have to go run. So
one of the biggest mistakes in my life. That's a big opportunity. Like, for real, I
it took 5 years for you to forgive him.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, okay, well, talk to me 5 years later. I'll give you a chance in 5 years. No, but we actually started a little while ago, about maybe like a year and a half ago, was it? Like, we started a series that was called Becoming a Distance Runner. And so Andy was going to try to make me become a distance runner. And so, we were at a point in the channel where we were like, we really think that we should be going towards, having us in the videos. Like, we weren't sure, like, it was at a moment that the channel was starting to kind of take off. And
we didn't really know what our identity was.
Yeah, we weren't sure. And so he's like, well, let's, I thought that was a good idea. So did he. We both were like, we think this is a good way to go. But it really didn't really take off. I think we did 3 videos where, I kind of started off. Andy was just like, I really just like the other like epic type of videos, I mean, there really is a lot of channels that are like how to, or like, and I mean, like, my running is not impressive, but it's also not that bad, so like, it wasn't even like, we got a lot of comments as like, with the first run, where they were like, oh, well, why are you putting somebody who can already run a 7.5 minute mile? Like, that's not that bad.
That was like, too fast for a lot of starters.
Yeah. And so people are like, she's not a starter. Like,
but she totally is.
Feel bad. And so I was like, oh, sorry. And so
sorry, I got skills. Yeah.
No, I didn't act like that.
I know.
but so, yeah, I mean, so that didn't really take off. As much as I was, happy to put myself in front of the camera, it just didn't really take off. So, Andy's videos he's just so amazing at like, the whole editing process, and he just knows so much about so many running details, and he just finds it so amazingly, like, exciting himself that he's able to convey this excitement into these videos that, there's no way I can bring that much, clout into the videos. And so I mean, that kind of faded out, but
that was, I mean, that was actually a question I had coming in was, do you on purpose, are you trying not to have yourselves in the videos that much? Or is it, maybe it sounds like it's more just that the videos you've created have so much success that you're just sticking with that and more just going with it?
It's more that.
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly that. I think it really comes, like, the way that I do videos is, it's all about the idea, like, if I have a good idea, whether it be me on camera or off camera, I usually go toward that. Just so happens more often than not, the good ideas don't include me or her in front of the camera. I have nothing against being in front of the camera. In fact, some of my most successful videos were like
in the beginning. More successful.
Like the Kipchoge challenge was obviously, like, that was one of the early videos.
Have you guys watched the Kipchoge challenge video?
I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
that video.
That was a lot of fun.
That was great.
But yeah, I mean, mostly like we've seen more success from just staying behind the microphone instead of in front of the camera. And so like, we look at it as not only is that success, that's obviously what people want. And so we have followed that, more often than not.
We kind of go by what the people are kind of asking for. And I know that sometimes they do say, hey, you should have more of you in it. But those comments are few and far between, you know? It's mostly like, oh, do a video on Jeffrey Kimura. I don't know. Stuff like that, you know? And so we kind of follow. We get a lot of emails of people emailing us suggestions for videos.
And I love those. Keep sending them. I mean, I've had a few people send like 20 ideas at a time. I'm like, okay.
That's a lot of ideas.
That's great.
Here's my next video. Here we go.
Exactly. Yeah, it's great. You know, interaction with people and ideas too.
Yeah. I was just curious about that because I found your channel a little bit later on, probably, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago. And so like all the first, say maybe the first 10 videos I watched, I had no idea who the person was behind the voice or anything. I was just like, oh, here's these cool videos about these pro runners showing their training, talking and analyzing everything. And so it actually took me some digging to even know who was behind this like channel that's so successful. So I just think that's cool. And interesting to hear whether that was like the intended thing of hiding in the shadows the whole time and purposely not being a part of it, or just
not really. I mean, that's cool. We have no problem being in front of cameras. In fact, like, I mean, it's interesting that there's this sort of mysteriousness because, and when I did the Clemson video and like I was in front of the camera briefly and like a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, now I know who the face behind the voice. I'm like, I've been in like 10 videos in the past. What? Like,
but I think our channel, you know,
I just get a lot of subscribers, I guess, continuously. So like, they're not familiar. They don't go back to.
They're not true fans. Exactly. They're not going back. So they're just fake fans, not true fans.
Exactly.
The OG ones will know.
I did comment on one of them, you know, recently. Whenever they're like, there's no, or something like, you know, there's no videos of you on there. This is the first time. So I did like, you know, click on there and write, oh, if you want to see his face, check out the Kipchoge challenge video. Because that's a really, you know, I think that's a very interesting video.
That showcases my average running skills. So it's like,
there's that extra footage of me trying but failing.
Hey, she made it like 190 meters. That's legit.
That's pretty good.
That's legit.
It is.
Yeah, you like per my last email that YouTube comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you credit, I've heard you say, Andy, you credit Eunice with a lot of the early days of Total Running Productions, getting it started, et cetera. Give us the origin story, and especially knowing that you came from, you know, working a full-time job for several years. When did you start the channel, and how long were you still working full-time, working on the channel? And then eventually what made you make the jump from, hey, I want to do this full-time?
It's such a good question. And yes, you are very accurate. This right here is the only reason Total Running Productions exists. This beautiful soul of my fiance, Eunice Padilla. Like, it's the only reason. I'm serious. In the beginning, like, I think like a lot of people, I was just obsessed with running. You know, I would formulate my training plans, run every single day, try to get faster with, you know, little to no success.
And talk about it
all
the time.
That was the thing that I think I was just uncontrolled with. Like, I knew a lot of information.
It was like Rain Man style.
Yeah, and I mean, I have memories of like literally just telling her certain things, and she's like, "Wait, what? You know, what do you mean Galen Rupp ran this race in 2011?" She's like, "First off, I don't even know who that is." You know, but like, probably when was it? I mean, I started the channel officially, like it says October 17th of 2017, but it didn't really see success until probably mid 2018. But at the time, like I was working for a CDC funded project in Atlanta, and I worked there from October of 2016 through June of 2019. So I worked there almost 3 years. So for that roughly year that I was doing some videos and still working full time, it's weird to think about now because I am so happy I'm doing what I'm doing now, but I would literally come home and I would actually write the scripts to certain videos at work. There was a lot of overlap where I was not being the best employee, but I was still
don't say that part.
Still being a
we still know those people.
I was still being a top tier public health official who didn't slack off on doing surveillance. Anyways, I think the big turning point was after a few videos that got like pretty good views. I realized like, if I could dedicate myself full time to this, like it could be a full-time job and potentially more. And and she was the one that inspired me. You know, she told me, you know, you have all of this knowledge. You clearly have the skill sets to make this a reality. Just take out a loan and make as much as you can, like make the best content that you can. Like I would have never done that. I would have never thought to think outside the box like that without her. And so like, the more I think about it, I'm just so thankful that this is the reality, because I love what I do so much. And literally just any comment that's like, this is a cool video, I'm like, my heart just feels so full because it's something I've wanted to do for so long. I don't know if I fully answered the question.
Well, and also I think I
feel very lucky
from the beginning, like, you know, he kind of skipped over to the part where there was already success. So before he started the channel, like we were saying, he was constantly just talking about running, and he started to kind of do like where he'd do like little like blogs, you know, of just like writing about them. And then he'd be like, hey, what do you think about this? So I'd read through them and I'd be like, oh, this sounds pretty good. And then I was like, you know, after a while I was like, yeah, it sounds good, but you should do something else with them other than just have me read them, because I don't really care about this stuff. So, I mean, not like in a mean way, but really,
she was inspiring me to be better.
I definitely no, but I mean, I would tell him, oh, this actually sounds really interesting. Like if I knew anything about running and if I cared about it, I might want to know more. And so I was like, so I did tell him, like, why don't you start a YouTube channel and just like get this out there? Because, you know, I'm sure there's people that will appreciate this more than I do. Like, this is nice, baby. Nice. But like somebody else probably will make you feel better. No, about it. No, but, so that's when he decided, you know, like, okay, I'll start a YouTube channel. And so he did. He started it, and in the beginning, it was mostly we've erased a lot of the videos from the beginning. It was very different.
Well, I mean, it took a long time to even see what worked.
Yeah, and so he would, and from the very beginning, you know, he would edit the video, and then I would watch it, and then I would say, you know, I know that I like, you know, even though I didn't know much about running, I know a lot more about running now, but, you know, everybody knows what might be entertaining or not, or what you're kind of like, you know, he tried different methods where he was like, you know, trying to be like sarcastic, funny. I'm like, you just sound like a jerk right now. Like, do not post this video.
No, and I find a balance much better now than I used to.
Yeah. And so going back to that other question though, honestly, sometimes the videos where you're in front of, he's so good at editing like the other videos that he just has this formula. But when it comes to videos where you're in and the way that you're presenting yourself, they are a lot more difficult to edit because you're going to be more critical on yourself, right? Yeah. And so we did do a few of those, and I know that we had a couple of times where we would be like super like butting heads, like because I'd be like, that's bad. Like that just like, it just not good. And then he's like, you're not being a supportive partner. And then I'm like, I'm sorry, but it's bad, you know? And then other things where I'm like, oh, look, this is really good. And he would be like, that's not good. Like that's very useless information.
Yeah. I mean, I needed that kind of brutal honesty because I was so impatient and kind of naive to think that people would ever want to watch what I used to put up. And that's actually probably the best advice I've ever been given. You told me, like, would you watch your own channel? Would you subscribe to your own channel?
If this wasn't your face, would you be watching it?
If you weren't a narcissist, would you? No, I'm just kidding. It's a good question though, because it begs the question: are you looking at this from the lens of, you know, an objective perspective? Is this good content, or are you biased towards your own urges and hopes?
And it really did when we really started paying attention to would you watch this? Plus the slight, you know, the eye of the person who isn't totally into running, but just wants to see entertainment. Like that was kind of like a key factor of a winning formula, you know, because not everybody most of the people that watch the videos are going to be like total running nerds. Like, yeah, it's a very niche thing. But at the same time, like I actually have watched a number of videos that I'm like, I would have enjoyed this even if I didn't know these runners that I now know. And I do watch every single one of the videos and like fully through. and we no longer he's gotten so amazing at like, the whole editing process and everything. Like it used to be that we would together, finish it up and like edit stuff out, but he's so good at it now that I would say like I don't do anything when it comes to editing of the videos anymore.
How long?
Unless it's a video that we have like in person, like the Clemson video. I was a big part of that one, yes, because there was like the people person sort of thing.
Right.
But with everything else, I'm completely out of the picture. And now we do have a lot more things to deal with like the email and like the promotions and like people reaching out to us and wanting us to do this or try some product out. Like I'm involved in that now. So it's much more my cup of tea.
Yeah, she's way more personally skilled than I will ever be. So it's valuable.
How long was the editing process at the beginning, and then how long is it now?
Such a good question. In the beginning, well, to go back before I was even talented at all, I had a completely crap computer. So, I mean, it was frustrating. It would take 10 plus hours. And now, I mean, like,
well, what would take now probably an hour would take like 10.
It was stupid. Like
his computer was so slow. It was, I mean, every time, excuse me, beer. Every time that he would start like, was at this process where he was like, towards the end of the video, the computer would start crashing. Like every time, like no fail.
I don't know how I'd continue.
And I would walk in there and then I'd be like, hey, how's it going, babe? And then he'd be like, I'm like, oh my God, I was like, I'll come back later. I mean, and that contributed to a few of like my little talks of like, if you're not going to be happy doing this, you need to stop.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was a reality check. And I mean, thankfully things have gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
And like,
we decided to buy a new software. New computer.
I mean, it's specifically
this is how much editing skills I have.
I mean, it has like capabilities towards not just your faster processing, but actually built in like
that was like
software.
2 years ago. Like it was around Christmas 2018, and I was like, if you're gonna keep doing YouTube, like we have to buy a new computer. And I was like, if you don't get a new computer, like you need to just stop because I can't stand you. No, I wasn't that harsh, but I thought
it's true.
And so he got a new computer, and then just everything just like he was so much faster.
Oh, it was
His mood was so much better.
A big change.
And so so
even since then though, I've learned how to adjust. And to answer your question, I don't know the exact, number of hours, but like obviously the longer the video, the longer the process. The longest video I've ever done was the top 50 runners of the decade. I actually think just by editing took 24 hours of total editing. It was a monster. I hope I will never do something like that again, because I remember being up at like 3 a.m. drinking coffee. Like, what am I doing with my life? Because at that point, the standards had finally gotten high and I didn't want to bust the quality. So I'm at like number 15, the bottom top 15 runners of the decade. And I know I still have like 6 hours of editing. I'm like hating life. I just wanted to be done. But that's easily the longest I've ever edited. I would say on average now, I mean, anywhere from 6 to 8 hours probably for video. And that doesn't include like getting the idea, writing the script, finding the right music. There's so many layers, but each video is different. It calls for its own specific, details. So 6 to 8-ish on average would be my guess.
Now compared to before.
Compared to 8 days.
Yeah, we don't even know how long it was before.
We don't want to go back. We consider that the shadow realm of editing days. It's awful.
It was awful, but it was the process. You hear like, you are not going to succeed unless you fail. Like if you're not failing, then that means you're not getting anywhere. Like you're never going to succeed if there wasn't any failures. And we definitely have had our share of failures when it comes to videos and YouTube up and downs.
Yeah. Like how far would you get into some of the videos that you would end up scrapping?
Oof, not too far. Well,
he's very persistent.
Now it's different. I don't really start a project unless I can see the full picture, but like,
yeah.
But wait a minute. I have to say, he has gotten to the point where, like, if you're saying how far until you scrap it, like, it's gotten to the point where, like, it was already on YouTube.
Oh yeah, a few of them were. This is years ago. But still, I mean, it's true.
For like maybe like a year and a half was like the last video. He was like, "This video shouldn't be up. It sucks." And I mean, so that I mean, I know that's kind of an extreme, but like that's the truth. Like we put that work in.
I think I finally just woke up and was like,
we were like, no, that's not a good enough video. Like it's up, but it stinks.
Yeah. Right.
So we want good content. So I mean, I guess if you want to call that scrapping it, like when it's already up, like we've finished the entire process and then killed it. Like you're going to video rest in peace place now.
Usually I don't, though. I don't really start something unless I'm pretty close to knowing it's going to be worth it. So it's pretty rare.
He's really good at doing that. Like he'll come up with an idea and once sometimes the creative process of, he's like, I have this idea and I think it's going to work, but like, it takes him a couple days to actually get the script down to where, cause he won't actually start writing it until he kind of plays it out in his brain, you know? And then he's like, no, that wouldn't work. That's dumb. And then, but when he finally gets down and gets that, I think it's like that writer's block, you know, getting that started, you have that idea, but usually once he starts writing the script, he doesn't look back. Like he's gone. He's like, you know, running flash.
I mean, at this point in the process, I'm sure you just instinctively can know, like, this is going to be good enough. This is going to be up to the standards, or this is a good enough story to tell. And that just comes with the process, I'm sure. And I can definitely relate to the number of hours editing. Like I have a nice computer and there's a video we have coming out about a week from today that I just finished editing, and I don't know, 30 to 40 hours maybe. And that wasn't filming it. That was just like editing it.
Wait,
wow.
The biking.
Oh yeah.
We did like 100-mile bike ride for raising money for charity. And so we biked a whole day and filmed a bunch of stuff. So I had 5 hours of footage to go through to get it down to 10 minutes. And so, that was a long process, but at the same time, it's something that I watch myself and other people watch that aren't interested necessarily, but they say that it's good. At least they tell me it's good to my face.
To your face,
I'm assuming that it's good enough. And it's just like the same thing with you. If someone who's not even interested in the underlying, content, the underlying idea of the video, the running piece of it can still enjoy watching it, then you have something there.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's super cool. I'm curious on your creative process, and also just, Total Running Productions is a business. So are you plotting out, like, do you have like your next 10 videos like thought out and like plotted out? And do you stick to like any sort of calendar? Like, hey, I'm setting a deadline for myself, this one next week, then this one in 2 weeks, and this one in 3 weeks. And how many hours are you like spending per week working? How formal are you with it? Or are you very informal and just pumping them out as they come?
Oh, I know you know the answer to this. Let's see. How can I put this? Extraordinarily informal.
Okay.
But at the same time, like, it works because I mentioned this earlier. I really do love that I get to do this.
Yeah.
To answer your question about the process, it changes almost every single time. Like I have a few documents like Google Docs where I'll have like these massive brainstorming sessions of like inspiration where, I'll get ideas. I'm always like looking and reading and seeing what's relevant, what's happened in the past, like what's going to happen in the future. And like, I sort of put it together. And if there's ever a chance or a time when I'm not like sure what's to come, like I kind of have that Google Doc to fall back on. So, I mean, I'm always pulling out new ideas. And I mean, I've looked in my own YouTube catalog for videos that are like sort of relevant to my past. And I have no clue what my next video is going to be, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. Like I already have like that list, and I have a few ideas, honestly.
And so he says it's completely informal, but it really isn't. So if you look at his computer, so he has a lot of experience with like analytics, right? So with his surveillance job, he made sure to like, you know, keep good records of things. And so he does an amazing job at like having everything very well organized. And I think that, so with that, it seems like he pretty easily gets started and moving on stuff. But so to him, he's like, oh, it's not very formal. But the fact, you know, like when you look at like my computer and the way that I have everything,
documents on her desktop.
everything, I'm just like, desktop has like document. I'm like, oh my God. And so I spend all this time like trying to fix stuff where, you know, like usually when you're going to work, like you end up doing all this extra stuff, but like you're just doing busy work. So he's really good at not having busy work, you know? And so when he gets to it, he's on it, you know, and he's very focused. And although, you know, he doesn't have to wake up very early. So I think that's what he's talking about.
I did the 6:30 to 4, well, 7:30 to 4 for almost 3 years. Not interested in that.
And so he gets to sleep in and stuff, you know, he doesn't have a schedule. He doesn't go by, oh, I have to wake up at 9 o'clock. Yeah, 9 o'clock sounded early to me compared to when he wakes up. But he doesn't have an idea of like, you know, I have to wake up by this time. He wakes up whenever he wants to. He, you know, chills and makes himself coffee. He's a crazy coffee person.
Oh, I love coffee and beer.
He grinds his coffee every morning. And so, anyway, but once he starts working, it is a very like, I'm working, I'm doing this. Yeah. And he does have, you know, like those Google Docs, like a lot of times he'll pull an idea and he can think of an idea in one day and have it ready by the next day. But sometimes he doesn't have that. So he will have, you know, those Google Docs to fall back on that he posts ideas. Like we'll be like laying in bed and he suddenly is like, oh my gosh, I just thought about something. He'll just grab his phone and go into a Google Doc and then just write it down, you know? So that, even though it's like really informal, like he's very serious and very focused on it. So
I would describe that as like the true artist way of doing it versus doing it as like a business. Because if it were a business, it'd be like, here's this week's video, next week, but it's going to be like, if I'm not inspired for a couple of days, no worries. I know I'm inspired.
But see, that's what makes it good, I think. Yeah. And I think that that's what makes it a little bit different because I don't see it as like formulaic. And as soon as he starts feeling like it's like formulaic, he's like not happy. And he's like, no, this isn't good, you know? And
I don't think that there's a possibility for, I think there's channels that are better than mine, but the fact that it's run by a ton of people and that there's corporate red tape everywhere, it hinders the artistic freedom to add certain types of music, certain types of editing, even just like sarcastic references in the middle of your videos, like that takes away from the overall experience. And that's something I'm so happy I get to do. Like I get to say Joshua Cheptegei baby on camera, which has become like its own little meme recently. Yeah. Like you don't see, again, World Athletics is awesome. Like they've proved to be a really unique like niche between Olympic sports and like just, you know, like a flow track channel. But I don't think there's any possibility for that. Whereas with our channel, it's individually run and operated. Well, 2 people, but like, I love that there can be a human touch. You know, that's very important to me.
Yeah. I feel like for all of us, like we got, or the goal is not to like get into YouTube to make it the same like corporate grinds. Like that's
right. If not, you would have applied for a job with them.
Right. Exactly. So
interesting story.
Oh yeah. Actually. Tell it.
I have no clue where this is going, but
back when Andy first, like a year into moving back to Atlanta and working at the Emerging Infections Program.
That's what it's called, EIP. Shout outs to you guys. I doubt anyone's watching. They might be watching. You guys are awesome.
Anyway, he actually applied for a job with FlowTrack.
I remember now. Yeah.
And he got an interview. But at the time, he didn't have any videos, like any good videos that he had done. Like he had kind of like played around and made some videos, but I don't know if he even had your YouTube channel yet. Did you? No,
I think I had my previous YouTube channel,
so they were like,
which will not be named.
They were like, yeah, you're right. You're right. So they were like, can you send us a sample? And then, so like, he kind of went through like the videos, and he was like, gosh, none of these are good. Like, this is embarrassing. And so he just never sent it. And then, you know, of course they never got back to him, but like, he actually did talk to them. They did give him an actual interview. So now we're just like, oh my gosh, thank goodness that you didn't send a video and that they didn't hire you, you know, because
not that we're not wanting to be a part of Flow
not
Track,
because we don't think Flow Track, you know, obviously like Flow Track, you know,
they've done a lot of great things. They hosted Beer Mile World Championships. They did a lot of good stuff.
But I mean, we wouldn't have our own thing.
Exactly.
You know?
We needed to learn the lesson of, wow, we're sending potential crap to an already established business of running. Like, this isn't good enough.
And that was actually something that pushed him to be like, I need to make better stuff, you know?
Definitely.
Because that was true. He actually did have a different channel first, and then we switched it over to TRP. I forgot about that.
No, I mean, I would say your quality tops Flow Track. I mean, they've definitely done some really good stuff, especially in the recent years, but their early days, I mean, they were very just raw video. And also I've known multiple people that work there, and it was definitely a grind from what I've heard. You know, you're videoing all day at the track meet, uploading all night, and
so they've done things I've just not been capable of. And
right,
complete respect to, you know, Flow Track, Sidious Mag, like all of them have done things I've never been able to do. And so like what we want this year, in fact, like sort of shifting gears, like 2020 was supposed to be a year where we were going to sort of get out there, out away from behind the computer. We were going to travel to the Olympic trials. Obviously the Olympics were a possibility. We were going to try to do like the behind the scenes, you know, as much as possible, make the story. But I mean, obviously that got thrown out the window. So hopefully next year there's a lot more ability to travel, sort of be on the road, get footage from everywhere that we can. I mean, Clemson was easy because they're an hour and a half away, and that was great. And that already was kind of difficult because, you know, we had to be socially distanced and we were trying to be careful. That was our goal this year, but kind of impossible to fulfill.
We were trying to strap on our wings, and then you know, COVID came over and broke them off.
Nah, that's not
like, we have so many ideas, and it's just like,
well,
but you know,
we will see you at the 2021 Olympic trials. We're already booked to go. So we bought our tickets to the Olympic trials, like, you know, the day it came out. Oh, that's good, because we actually didn't get the tickets themselves, so we're booked for like accommodations, but we didn't get the tickets themselves, and then they took them off of sale. So we're just waiting for when they open back up, and hopefully
we jumped on it early. That was
because Andy went to the 2016 Olympic trials.
Nice.
And so he was involved with like a track team in New Orleans.
Shout out to the Power Milers. They really were a big growing part of my running experience. Like, going to those Olympic trials with them was like, it really did change my mentality. That was an amazing experience. Like, to anyone that hasn't been there, it's like, I mean, you guys, I'm assuming you've been in the past. Like, it's,
I've actually never been to the trials. No.
Oh, snap.
No.
We need to have a Beer Mile
fresh.
Actual. That's awesome. Yeah. It was the first time in my life, I think, where there was a collective group of people that were as interested and knowledgeable about the sport as me. And so it was nice to have people to talk to.
He's not trying to be cocky or anything.
I mean, it's
well, I mean, it's literally been his job for like 3 or 4 years. I know. Track. So I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
You are literally like the resource, because I'm not a big fan of like Let's Run's great. Like, I appreciate what they do, but if I'm gonna get my like track and field news, I guess Jonathan Gault is amazing. I definitely read his stuff, but like I prefer video form as a medium to consume information. And
exactly,
like, your stuff is definitely more informative / entertaining than anything. Like, I don't have a Flow Track subscription. Again, like, love what they do, but But
I love how we keep.
You're the guy that's instilling like the track and field knowledge into me. So
yeah,
so I
that's
trust
the
your
goal.
opinion. I feel like you would be a better announcer than many that I hear on TV because a lot of them don't know the stories behind the athletes, and it's very frustrating when someone says something wrong or they just don't say something about an athlete that's in the lead pack because they don't know anything about them. I'm like, come on, like look something up about this person.
Sometimes they'll make judgment calls about their race, and it's like it feels like they're not even watching the same race as you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What are you talking about?
It's terrible. Yeah.
That's such a good point because, I mean, there's a lot of times where I'll be watching a race and someone will comment on some seemingly insignificant thing, and it's like that is so wrong, you know, and. Right. It's not, I don't blame the announcers themselves because it is a lot of information that I bring to the table. And I mean, I get to prepare all of this and put it out instead of having to do it on the spot.
I feel like you'd do a good job on this.
Oh, well, I do think I would. I think I would do a good job. And in fact, I used to think I wanted to go into like broadcast journalism and you know, comment over some Diamond League performances, even though shout out to the British commentators. Like, they do a fantastic job. They're so good. But in the States, it does fall to the wayside a lot. But I mean, I would love to do that. And maybe in the future, at some point, there's a chance I could make that happen. Again, I love what I do now, but yeah, it's pretty frustrating when you'll see someone, I don't blame them for mispronouncing a name because it took me almost a month to learn that it's Kibiwot Candier, not Kibiwot Candy. Small things like that, seemingly like, I mean, I want to learn how to pronounce people's names correctly. It happens. I don't blame people until it becomes like, clearly you have no clue what you're talking about. They're like, oh, this marathoner, actually in New Orleans, Mo Farah ran a half marathon there back like after he won his gold medals in 2012. And some lady asked him, is this your first time running? Something really just abysmal. It was a very poor interview. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's on YouTube, but like, the disconnect between a lot of the population and running is so vast that it does create these almost memeable moments. I think I'm going to leave that open for the future potential broadcast journalism. I would love to do that. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I would also say my wife and I have both talked about how soothing your voice is too. So I will plug and say that. And like having not seen your face to put that, you know, to the voice for the first, I don't know, 6 months or a year that I watched your videos, it's just, it was just like this voice. There's just this voice behind all these videos. And I was like,
that's so weird.
So how did his face do?
It's here.
I don't even know what I was expecting, to be honest.
You're like, I was expecting a much more like manly man.
Sorry to disappoint. I don't. That's so weird.
And he's really good at making voices anyway. Like
some of them.
He does this thing where he will like copy what people do, just like old YouTube videos, like just really dumb YouTube videos, or like just I don't know, just like random actors, and he'll just sound exactly like that.
Oh yeah,
and
it's an inflection like, capability, I suppose.
And even today, like I called him. I was coming back from like a doctor's appointment, and I was like, hey. He answered the phone and he was like, hello. But like, I don't know, the way he said it, I was like, what the heck am I talking to? Like, I was like, did I call like my side chick or something? Like,
that's hilarious.
No, but I mean, like, I really was like, it takes me back sometimes where I'm like, who is this guy? What is this? He's really good at making different voices, is the thing.
It's so weird to hear that. I never for a minute thought that before the channel. And I had a few comments early on. It's like, I like your voice. I was like, okay, cool. That's cool. But I didn't realize it was actually a thing.
Yeah. And then I was like, what did you say?
I'll keep you check.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's definitely a thing.
Good radio voice for sure.
Yeah. Especially when you're
good radio voice. As long as you don't tell him he also has a radio face, because then that would just be
that's bad. Yeah, that means something.
I mean, is that why he's behind the camera? Because it just has the voice, you know. The one other question I wanted to ask about Total Running Productions was, do you have any sort of, I guess, vision of where you want it to go, or do you really like that it's just the two of you and you're just, you know, doing it out of enjoyment, and it's a great business and career and something that you enjoy doing yourselves versus, you know, potentially hiring people in the future as a part of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's great right now. And I mean, I have no clue what the 5-year plan is if you want to look at it like that. But I've talked to a few people about like just not the future of just the channel, but like the future of running. And I think that there's obviously some elusive thing that's missing from the running community. I mean, you know, you've got massive broadcasting for other sports, and running just isn't like that. And yet we have so many fans. Mm-hmm. And I think what's going to happen is hopefully, you know, sooner rather than later, there's going to be a place that allows for more information on the sport itself, just to be more accessible. And I think that was a big inspiration point for me, because I was frustrated that, you know, there were these complicated measures that I had to put in place to even watch a race. Mm-hmm. And so like down the line, hopefully, whether it be a collaborative process or just like, yeah, the beer's clearly kicking in. Hopefully down the line that there's more access to more races, there's more access to people, and there's more public awareness of the sport itself, because it's a huge international sport. And I mean, it would just be great to have more access. Like that's sort of where my mind is at. And that's been really has been the goal since the beginning. I have no clue how that's going to surface, whether it be, you know, again, like a collaborative process. But if there was an ESPN Sports Center for like running itself, a specific channel, that would be great. Yeah. I have no clue how that's going to look in the future though. So, I mean,
so yeah. He has mentioned, you know, we have mentioned like from the beginning, like he said, having a different outlet for, you know, I don't know, maybe creating like a different culture with running. Like we would love for Total Running Productions to be part of that.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of always been the idea, whether that means we're going to stay as, you know, just me and him and just do collaborations with people like y'all. Mm-hmm. You know, we're in Georgia, so we say y'all. And we
actually do too. We learned it from friends that we have from Georgia as well. Yeah. So we nice. Y'all as well.
It's a good word.
So,
it is
a great word.
Whether we do that or collaborations or something, but we really hope to be a part of a move of some sort when it comes to that. When it comes to just the channel, for now, we are just thinking of staying just me and him. I have a full-time job doing something else. Like I work at a law firm and, you know, mostly from home, you know, I do most of my work from home. And so I do get to, you know, concentrate on Total Running Productions as well with Andy. But, you know, if it came down to it, to where we really needed to focus more, you know, I would just, you know, stop, you know, quit my job and just, you know, I would be the next person that would be completely involved with, not that I already am not, I just, you know, I cover the bags under my eyes, basically. There's a lot of concealer, like.
Yeah, mine are fully here.
But yeah, so for now, we are super happy about the way that it's been working out for us. Just for our family and it's just good.
Yeah, actually, sorry, I lied. I have one more question about.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm getting really drunk, so I'll talk.
No, the other question I was thinking of was, so I know you. So you also have some merch. I know you started a podcast at one point. I don't know if that's still going. I'm curious. And I think a lot of people would probably be curious about this. This is a very common question amongst like, you know, YouTubers is the majority of your business, I'm assuming like YouTube revenue money, but like, what's the breakdown? Are you also getting revenue income from other sources? Is it all YouTube ads? Is there like sponsorships and promotions? Just what's that breakdown look like for someone who would be interested in going into this as a business?
Yeah. I mean, the vast majority is YouTube ads, you know, the AdSense. We have sort of experimented with other areas because, I mean, we wanted to open up avenues for people, whether it be the podcast, merch. And it was never intended to be just like, let's find a way to maximize monetarily what we're doing.
Although it should have been.
But I mean, it's back to like your original point of like finding out what people want to like
exactly
follow along with, right?
We definitely go a lot based on what people want.
And
with the merch, I know you mentioned like the merch, we launched it, and then, you know, COVID happened.
Oh yeah, we launched it.
And it was just such a bad time. And we actually, like, we sold out of what it was that we had, but, you know, and people were like asking for more, but we were having a hard time like mailing it. We didn't do it through YouTube. Like, we didn't do it through a company that was connected to YouTube. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so we actually had to mail it out ourselves. And that actually turned out to be like,
it was a shit show.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we lost money on it.
Yeah, because
but we were happy to have people have our merch. And so that's something we're going to go in. We have to make a new plan, and we do kind of want to put it back out there. But we want to have something more like significant than just like our logo, you know?
And I thought of a great idea.
He's very artistic.
I'm not going to reveal it, but I mean, I think merchandise is a great way to, like, not just, make a few dollars, but like to sort of push the continuous, like, running is awesome vibe. Yeah. And Tin Man Elite does a great job at that. I know they move a lot of merchandise.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably only sold like 5% of what they've moved. And speaking of merch, I actually brought this down here for a good reason. Like, for anyone that wants a great pair of running shorts, the Athlete Special made a great pair. This is genuinely the best pair of running shorts that I own. I know you guys talked with them recently.
Yep, we did.
And this, like, is easily, that's the Athlete Special guy right there. This is such a good pair of running shorts. Like, for runners that want good shorts, a good just fit, get them. They're really solid. I do want to look back into merchandise because, you know, we literally did initiate that right when the pandemic hit. And I mean, at the time, I just wasn't comfortable waiting in line at UPS or whatever store for 2 hours. There was such a strange feeling, and I was very uncomfortable at the time. And I loved the fact that people bought them, they wanted it. And I think there's a lot more to come in the future. I think that's going to be a good area for us because people actually, they loved it, obviously.
Yeah. And we have had like sponsorships too, you know, a couple of sponsorships. But yeah, that's kind of the area that we will be exploring a little bit more because to answer that question, we're almost 100%, you know, AdSense. Google AdSense is what pays us.
It pays decent too. So for anyone wanting to start it takes a long time to get to a point where you can make money.
It's all about persistence.
It really is.
And just like, if you love what you do and you're just going to keep doing it anyway, then why not do it on YouTube, you know? And so that's kind of what I told Andy. I was like, you love this. You obviously love this. You have a lot to say. You would do this. Like, you literally would do this before you were getting paid. And then you would just expect me to hear it all.
Oh, geez.
But so, but you know, that was a joke, but you know, he did it no matter what. So if you have something that you love doing, like, do it on YouTube, you know, like make some money out of it.
Make it good.
You know, like make it count.
You're going to fail a lot and then hopefully you'll succeed. Just keep going.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, Andy was very, very, very persistent. Like we said, he even had like a different channel that he was like, okay, I've failed enough on this one. Let me start a new one, you know? And then he failed a couple more times and then we were good, you know?
And then we failed some more.
Hey, advice from the pros. We appreciate that, you know? And in the merch thing, even if you like break even on it, I think just people wearing it around, like feeling good about the brand, every person that buys the merch, they're going to have 50 people walk up to them and say, what is that?
Yeah,
and they're going to spread the word. So it's great marketing either way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
We just have to find a good provider.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's true though. Like I've thought about that and we've given a few like shirts away to like friends and family just because they want to help promote. It is free advertising.
Absolutely.
And there's so many ways. I love the idea of having your own clothing line. I wouldn't say we have that. We just have a few merch things that are sold out now, but
you'll get there. You'll get there.
I'm showing his shirt.
This was the guy's early ones.
Do you happen to have any of those left, or are they completely sold out at this point?
We have a few. I mean, we wear them around.
I was gonna say we could do a swap if you want to do a beer mile. beermile.com sweatshirt for
sure.
We'd
be happy to.
We'd totally be
we kept a few just for like giving away. So we sold out. We had a certain amount that we were going to sell, and then a certain amount that we were just going to keep. And we actually gave most of the rest that we had for now to the Clemson cross country team when we were.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So they got a bunch. So they were really happy about that.
I mean, no pressure, but we're always open.
No, we'll exchange PO boxes or whatever.
Sounds good.
We'll look it up. Yeah.
Sounds good. Cool. Okay. So now we need to ask. So hopefully this is a fun little segment. We want to go into Andy's crystal ball here. We need some hot takes. We need some predictions for the 2021 season. Since you're the man that I go to for all my running knowledge, I'm expecting you to know and be able to see into the crystal ball of what's going to happen in 2021.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. No pressure at all.
First question. Does Donovan Brazier break the 800-meter world record in 2021?
No, he won't. He might go under 142, but beyond that, no way. Rudisha is just untouchable.
Answer.
I know, he is so confident, right? I'm like, yeah, you're right.
I just think it's so unlikely. I'd give him a 5%, 3% chance.
Oh.
Also in a championship season, it's less likely. Probably.
Exactly. Yeah. I think he has the future potential, but I mean, it's so good. It's such a good record that is so, I just don't see that happening even before 2030, honestly. Nigel Amos and Brazier are both beasts.
That was brave. 10 years.
I mean,
that's a big crystal ball.
I've studied that one race probably potentially more than any other race, and it was just so good. And I mean, I had the pleasure of talking with Nick Simmons about the actual race itself, and he was saying how even before the gun went off, like Rudisha was like, I'm going to go out. I'm going to break the world record. You guys come with me. Yeah. And it happened. And it was just such a timeless moment. I would be so shocked if he broke that next year. I've made videos saying, will he do it? Maybe. But my guess would be no.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's insane beast mode, that race that Rudisha just from the front. So it's on that same note then, is David Rudisha at the 2021 Olympics? And if so, does he medal?
You want to take this one? I mean, I would love more than anything else for that to happen, because he strikes me as such a chill vibe kind of guy.
Absolutely.
Not that I know too much about his personal life, but I would be surprised if he was able to make that comeback, because Kenya is so deep in every category. And while he's the GOAT of the 800, along with like Seb Coe, if he made the comeback just to make the Olympics, that would already be unbelievable. And I read an article a few days ago. He was saying that he was experiencing some struggles. So that's unfortunate. The comeback from surgery, from COVID lockdowns, all of the things hindering his training, I would be surprised to see him in the Olympics, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. But hoping that there's something.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We want to ask about, so some of our previous guests on the podcast, we want to know what their odds are. So Krista Schweitzer, does she make the 2021 Olympics? And if so, what are her medal chances at the 2021 Olympics?
I mean, she did a great job in the 5K against Houlihan. That was solid. I mean, the Bowerman team did do a great job this year. Oh man.
For the audio only listeners, this is like shaking her head and like I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
This is deep. I'm picturing the race where she ran against Houlihan and ran one of the fastest times in American history. It's like she's clearly in great shape and she's rivaling against Houlihan, but Houlihan already is like gonna have to deal with Helen. I mean, I'm going Rain Man mode, I'm realizing, but it's also like very relevant. I mean,
no, this is
that's
great.
What we want. This is your Rain Man moment, baby.
I mean, our listeners, ours collectively, our listeners are running nerds. They want to know
exactly.
This
yes,
that's true.
This is
don't
my
feel venting.
Self-conscious.
This is my venting moment. Are you saying what are the odds of her medaling in the Olympics?
So first of all, I guess let's go odds on her making the Olympic team, and then what are the odds of her actually medaling? Yeah.
I think her odds of making the Olympic team are solid, very solid. Whether or not she does the 5K, potentially 10K. I mean, she's a strong, pretty fast runner. I think she's got I mean, she can make her own decision on where she wants to run. She's got options there. Medaling in the Olympics as a natural distance runner from the United States is extremely rare.
Yes.
I think the last one to do that might have been Shalane Flanagan in 2008, who made a legit bronze medal, moved up to silver medal. I mean, Galen Rupp did it in 2012. That was great as well. She has a chance. There's always the possibility. I mean, anyone can pop out and make a great performance on the world's biggest stage. You know, that's the unwritten drama that we all want to see. It's going to be difficult for sure. Kenya, Ethiopia, like D-Day breaking the world record this year in the 5,000. Helen Obiri is super consistent. The endless East Africans to deal with 5,000, 10,000, 3,000 steeplechase, you know, that will be very difficult. Best of luck. I hope she does it. I'm not even going to throw out a probability because I want her to in any American for that regard, but that will be difficult for sure.
Yeah. She told us she's going to do the double. She's going to do 5K, 10K at the trials, try to get them both. So
that'd be awesome.
So she has options. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Another friend of the pod then, Irish runner making his comeback, Kieran Leonard. Do you think he can make the mile? Let's say, can he make the Olympic finals in the mile coming back? Because I think he's a pretty solid lock on making the Olympic team for as long as he hits the standard for Ireland. But does he make the final? And if so, you know, does he medal? He's a 3:34 guy by PR, but that was in, I don't know, 2012 maybe. It's been a bit.
Making the finals for the 1500, I feel like, is a jigsaw puzzle all by itself. And I think back to Alan Webb and in his, even just like the year after he broke the American record, he didn't even make the team. There's so much talent throughout the world. Getting to the finals requires 2 awesome races.
Yeah.
The finals, I mean, it is possible, you know, like you're going to be up against so many good runners that are going to be going all out in the quarterfinals, the semifinals, making it like their biggest effort just to get there. I mean, the cream of the crop is going to make it to the top no matter what. That sounded like a sweet rhyme. Anyways.
That's poetic.
So yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm throwing out sweet vibes. Yeah, I think he totally has a shot. If he can match his 3:34, that's very competitive. But navigating your way through the quarters and semis is so challenging. Again, this goes straight back to finding a way to get there through because only a handful of people even get to the finals, let alone make the Olympic standard. And so you're going to have to. It's tough. I'm stuck on Alan Webb. The year after he runs a 3:46 mile, doesn't make the Olympics. Yeah. And I mean, his career was a little more volatile than other people. He was extraordinarily high when he was good, but had difficulties with consistency. It's just the 1500 is like the premier middle distance event, more so than even the 800, I would argue. So there's a chance, but it's going to be a challenge.
I'm with you. Okay. The last friend of the podcast that we've had on, does Ali Ostrander make the Tokyo Olympic team?
Hell yeah. She'll find a way. Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, she's proven her strength, 3,000, like steeplechase. You know, she has a few options as well, like Switzer does. I'm just excited for racing to start again, honestly. And I'm expecting that when she does, I would love to see Spencer really improve in 2021. And I've talked to him. I mean, as like a fellow YouTuber, we've like connected multiple times, and I've told him like, you just need the proper training group and the right, you know, consistency to really bring out that great performance. Hopefully being with Ali, who's, you know, obviously a little more experienced than him, can really sharpen his focus. So Ali's got a great shot. I would say yes. Spencer has, obviously, he would probably tell you the exact same. Like, he's just brand new with the Brooks Beasts. He's got, you know, strides to make before he's like bringing the confidence of Josh Kerr. But like, yeah, I mean, Ali's a 2021 shoe-in at this point. I feel like
I love it. You heard it here first. And that's funny. That's funny about Spencer too, because when we were talking to him, he was saying the same of like, I just joined the Brooks Beast. Like, they told me my diet sucks. I have so much room for improvement. And I think everyone sees that on his YouTube channel. He's just whatever, making cold cut sandwiches and Snicker bars for most of his meals. So
Yeah.
so he has room for improvement, but that's
I think he'll be one of the most fun to watch over the next.
He will be. It'll be fun
years.
to see the progression, and then like with dating Allie, and she's just crushing the training. Like if you're dating someone who's working out like 5 hours a day and you're only like trying to work out 1 hour yourself, you feel bad. So I feel like he's going to just up the training, and
that's the best peer pressure he could have. I feel like
it is,
because you mimic your partner, and Allie is like an institution in herself. I was watching a video on Flow Track. She was featured there like 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
She's been a part of that just solid, consistent training movement for years. And so I'm excited that first off, I'm excited they're dating. And I loved watching that podcast you did with them. I have high hopes for both of them in the future.
Definitely. Okay, who's the most underrated runner?
Oh my goodness, most underrated runner. I feel like I need to dig back into my own preferences here. This is an opinion question.
Me.
Probably Eunice. Yeah.
Because I'm not that. That wouldn't be underrated. That would be like rated low for a good reason.
But I think the people said you were overrated as a beginner because you were too
fast. That's true.
So.
That's true. They did say that. It's like you can't please anybody these days. Like, geez. We're giving him time to think.
If you don't want to say underrated, overrated as well. I mean, either one. Let's get some extreme here.
That's risky.
That actually underrated is less risky.
That's respect to the underrateds more. This is a real deep dive, but my mind went straight to Günter Haag in the mid 1900s because he held the mile world record at 4:01 for almost a decade. In fact, I think it was a decade. And what a lot of people don't realize is he ran that during a world war. And the reason he wasn't able to break 4 is because at the time, being a professional runner, accepting money means you don't get to compete anymore. So what he had to deal with at the time was stupid red tape. He was working a full-time job, training, and still ran a 4:01. And if you want to look back at history, like Roger Bannister, obviously great runner. He's looked at as the premier sub 4-minute runner. He was the first one to do it. Great athlete. But Günter Haag, I feel like today he's very underappreciated. And I don't know. I might actually go with him. I'm sure I'm going to think of an answer later and be like, oh, this person or that person.
Are you guys familiar with that guy?
I actually wasn't. But
there you go. So.
But if you're saying 4:01 a decade earlier than Bannister, that already in my head, I'm like, technology goes a long way. Track surfaces go a long way. And then also the piece of the World War too. That in my mind, I'm like, you guys running 4:01 with no technology. Soft surfaces, and
so he won. So he won this question. I was correct.
I win.
So underrated that you don't even know who he is.
You won an opinion question. That's rare.
Yes, he won the opinion question.
Yeah.
I mean, you could. This also is kind of true, though. I feel like you could make an argument for a huge amount of female runners in general, because running already is underserved, and there's just endless talent of female athletes that do not get recognition. Like if you go into a population and ask if you know who Joshua Cheptegei is, some people will know. But if you ask who Latessa Bet-Gidey is, they'll be like, I have no clue who that is. And she broke the world record the same day Cheptegei did.
Yeah.
By more seconds. Well, not by more seconds, but equally as impressive in my opinion. And then there's so many amazing female runners that deserve more.
Should feature in your channel too.
That's true. I mean, it's true.
We're guilty of it too.
Yeah, go. I mean,
they're preaching to ourselves.
Preaching to the personal choir.
Yeah.
All right. Who do you think would be the best beer miler amongst pro runners if any pro runner were to try it?
That's a great question. And you can jump in on this one as well.
Well, I mean, this is a question. So
Elliot Kipchoge.
He would be blacked out by half a beer.
He has 0.2% body fat.
I feel so let's preface this. I mean, I'm curious as to who you'd think as well, because you have more experience on this. But I've run a few beer miles in my day, nothing quite like what you've done, but to be a good beer miler, you have to chug well. You need a robust gullet, per se. I don't know. Chris Solinsky. I think I might stick with my boy Solinsky.
That's a new one. Okay, that's good. So I've talked to a few people about this. I've talked to Chris Chavez about this, which I feel like he's a pretty good source because he's met all these people.
Oh, he's met everyone.
And Chris Solinsky has never come up, and I actually really like that because he is a stronger runner. He's a little bit he's big, quote unquote
husky,
quote unquote husky for a pro runner. Obviously, if you saw him next to an average person, he's still skinny, but very muscular. So and he went to Wisconsin drinking school. I don't know if he drank. I'm not saying he drank, but I like that. I like that answer. What I've been told or what I've heard, I don't know by who. Whatever. I've heard that maybe Eric Jenkins and Craig Engels would be good at it.
I will say in 2016, after he ran his 1500, I shared from the same pitcher as Engels, and the boy can drink. He can drink very well.
See, and that's the basis for this. So I don't have any knowledge of like the running plus drinking together, but I've heard that, if you're looking for a runner that tips a few back, those are a couple guys, as well as Carissa Schweitzer actually said she thinks Lopez Lemong is a dark horse in the beer mile.
Oh man.
And I could actually, I could maybe see that. I mean, I
feel like if you have that much muscle as a distance runner, your talents are endless. That just it's like Schwarzenegger level. The guy's jacked out of his mind.
He's absolutely jacked. And I think that he's just one of those guys that his metabolism is just like going on 100 miles per hour all the time. The beer is just nothing to him. It's just going to evaporate in his stomach.
Yeah, but the problem that is impossible to really test until you do it is you can metabolize all day, but the talent of getting beer down in a quick fashion, which I'm sure you can appreciate, is so rare. So like to be a good runner does not make a good beer miler. But I only went to Solinsky because I've heard people consider him as a husky runner. I mean, he was the first non-African to run under 27 for the 10K.
Exactly.
But he's clearly got the running chops, but man, I mean, it's such a rare thing to find someone, maybe Taufik Makhloufi as well from Algeria. He's got a little extra, and he's an Olympic champion. So, I mean, he's clearly got the talent. Even if he can only down a beer in 10 seconds instead of 5 or 6, that's like,
right.
He's got all these numbers. You see,
I love this question because
even with a beer, how many seconds?
It's completely true though, because this is what we were talking to Kieran about in his episode was like, Kieran, okay, even if you can chug each beer 5 seconds slower than me, your PR in the mile is 20 seconds faster. So the numbers add up, right? Yeah. So that's how any runner that if they can run a 350, 355 and pause for 10 seconds of beer, whatever it is, then there's potential.
Yeah, I've only run I've run 2 beer miles in my life, and my first one was the fastest. And I remember through halfway, I was like 2:45. I was like, yeah, I got this. Yeah, and then my last half was 4 minutes. I think I ran just over 7 minutes, so I'm far away from you. But that last half, I want to see whoever we've mentioned attempt it at least once because I'm too curious now.
I absolutely.
Make it happen, guys. Make it happen.
Yeah, I'll get in touch with I'll get in touch with all these Olympians.
We've been floating the idea. Well, first of all, just over 7 minutes on a debut. That was what my debut was. So you're right on the spot.
No pressure.
But yeah, we've been floating it. So I would talk about this with Chris Chavez, as well as just DMing a little bit with Craig Engels, and then also talking to Carissa about Bowerman Track Club. We're we would be willing to put down money, prize money. And Chris Chavez said the same on if all the pro runners after the Olympics, September, October, got together for just a beer mile, winner takes home $3,000 or $2,000, whatever.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Just go do
Mr. Beast style.
Mr. Beast. That'd be great.
And honestly, well, if they would all be willing to sign off on us like filming it and making a production out of it, I would be willing to put up way more prize money, because I think that would absolutely blow up as a video, because people would want to see it. I think it would be really cool.
And you would see at least one disaster happen.
Yeah. I mean, and that would totally be something that me, the non-runner, would be interested in. Like, even if I had never been introduced to running, you know, like, it's a really cool idea.
Exactly.
Actually, I do want to ask you, what was more difficult, 4:37 beer mile or 10:18 2-mile with the beer?
That's a great question.
I know the 2-mile requires a lot more stomach space.
So I'm going to say the 2-mile, because if I look at like the 4:37, I think I could do between like a 4:37 and a 4:47 pretty much any day of the week. But a 10:18, I could maybe only do once every 6 months on the perfect day, because to be able to put down 8 beers without vomiting in the middle and waiting till the end, it's just like, it's kind of like a fluke day. I mean, again, talking about pro running, very similar to that. Some days you just have those days where it's like everything clicks. And that was one of those days, versus the beer mile. Even if I'm having an off day, I know I can drink 4 beers. I know I can run a mile between 4:10 and 4:15, 4:20, whatever the case is on that day. So just by the consistency sake of it, the 10:18 would be harder to replicate than the 4:37.
Yeah, I can only imagine what did you feel like the 30 minutes, hour after that 10:18? Because I've only run 2 beer miles and I felt pretty loose.
Did we? So it was. We were talking earlier about like videos that you've scrapped. Did we record that podcast that we scrapped after that? Or is that?
Oh no, I think that was a different day. So actually, surprisingly, the 10:18, the 2-mile, I think I was no more drunk. I might have even been less drunk than a beer mile, because I'll never throw up after a beer mile. But in that video, and I debated whether to leave in the vomiting into that video, because I thought it was gross, but at the same time, I wanted people to know that I'm not like actually chugging 8 beers in 10 minutes. It's kind of like you watch Nathan's hot dog eating contest, and it's like disgusting, but at least I would hope they throw up, down the line. They hold it in for a certain amount of time, but I kind of wanted to show that, like, hey, I'm not actually like getting absolutely trashed right now. Like, I'm actually throwing it up. And so it was no different than the beer mile.
Promoting bulimia.
I guess there's that. Yeah. I don't know. It's a balance. But whenever we hit YouTube monetization, I won't be able to do things like that anymore. So that's pretty much it on that.
That's what the second channel will be for.
Yeah, we'll have to have maybe a Savage channel. We'll see. But
yeah, we've talked about like doing a spin-off channel, or like just a separate channel.
More casual.
We've been talking about that, and I know this could have been a good time to talk about when you asked that question, but since it came back up again, we've talked about that, and we've thrown around that idea of just like having a channel just like Andrew and Eunice, just like where it's not about running, like there might be some running stuff in it, but just like more like to have people know like who we are. We haven't decided on that, we're not sold on the idea. But we do some pretty, silly things. And, we think we could provide some entertainment, but we haven't dedicated ourselves yet. Like we haven't said, let's do it.
Yeah.
We're considering that.
I think.
What do you guys think about that? Hey, let's go. That's what we can say.
I think that's what kind of speaks to the channel is like accessibility, or just, I don't know, like, it's obviously fun to hang out with you two right now. So like, I'm sure people subbing to the channel.
Exactly. And I was also going to say, it seems like the personal connection is I would almost say that you're somewhat unique in that you've been really successful without just being the person like vlogging or what, like, so like Nick Simmons, Athlete Special, Zach Levitt, Emma Abrahamson. If you think about like some of the runner YouTubers, if you're looking at like a production standpoint, like your production on videos is really good, but I think they'll gravitate toward like less quality on the production, but more of the human connection.
And so we talked about that, like balancing that out, right? And so he was like, well, there's going to be some people that don't want, some, like his thing is like, the channel is just like everything he brings out, he wants it to be epic, right? And so with a personal, with us being as people, it's not always going to be epic, but it might be entertaining, right? But he doesn't want to mix that. So that's when we came up, and it's actually been this week that we've really been talking about it. Where I was like, you know what? Why don't we just do another channel where, you know, we can kind of promote that other channel, but not like push it. And so whoever is interested in like that personal connection can go to that channel, and whoever just wants that epic, like, oh, TRP just posted someone, yeah, like they can come up and be like, you know. And so
I need you to like follow me and like be like the epic spokesperson for
it. Yeah, you're the hype woman.
So we are actually considering that. And thanks.
I think if you do like, if we're able to do like a 2021 say track tour where you're able to go to some meets and stuff, I think that'd be perfect, where you have like the actual race recaps, et cetera, on TRP, but then you also have like the behind the scenes, just you covering it kind of like vlog style as the separate channel.
Right. And me like, you know, like messing around with him, like, you know, telling him how bad he's doing and stuff.
Exactly.
I'm kidding. He's doing
really you two are a perfect balance. Like the yin and yang. I love it. This is great.
Thank you.
Awesome. So let's get into then some closing questions, rapid fire. You can answer with one word if you want. And these are all for both of you. One word if you want. If you want to explain your answer, feel free, but no need to if you don't want to. Let's get into it. This is the last gulp.
All right. So first question, a little bit of a softball. Favorite food?
Oh, snap.
Oh gosh, we're so bad at this. We're like drool coming out of our mouths.
I'm like, oh yeah, I'm hungry also.
I think that Andy loves Mexican food.
I really do. Oh, yeah. I mean, Mexican street tacos might be the most untouchable food in the world. Like, I'm talking like actually from Mexico.
Like, but you have to go to like the slums of Mexico.
Oh yeah,
like,
those are better.
Not like the touristy area.
Yeah, not where they
I'm confident in that answer.
Yeah.
It has everything you want. Yeah, Mexican street tacos. Yeah. And what about you?
Do you have a? Yeah.
What do I have?
I mean,
I don't know. I'm so bad. I've lived in so many different places, and I actually used to hate Mexican food. Not hate it, but I didn't really like Mexican food because I didn't grow up in Mexico. So
blasphemy.
I'm from Mexico. Like I was born in Mexico, but I came to the US when I was 5, and this is the rapid fire. Okay. So get ready for when I go slow.
Explanations are important.
They are.
But so I grew up eating like Hawaiian food. Like I grew up in Hawaii. And so there's really crappy Mexican food in Hawaii. If you want to try bad Mexican food, go to Hawaii. It sucks. So I always thought Mexican food was not good until I came to the States. And I was like, wow, Mexican food is really good.
Then you went to Mexico and you're like, oh.
I actually
this is how it is.
Yeah, it's so bad. But growing up, I'll just give my growing up.
Okay.
Like I loved it's called musubi, and it's gonna sound really weird. So it's basically only made in Hawaii. It's like a really Hawaii thing, and it's like looks like it's in the form of like sushi, but it's made with Spam. So it's rice, Spam, and seaweed.
Okay.
So yeah.
I need to try that.
So that was like my favorite food
dinner
growing
tonight.
up. Like it was like every local Hawaii person like can totally be like, yes, give me a musubi.
Which island? I've been to Hawaii a couple times and I've never seen or heard of this. So
yeah, because you were in the touristy area.
I'm a total tourist. I mean,
she's like
you did not live with where like the okay. So name drops here. I went to I grew up in Nanakuli, which is where Jason Momoa is from.
Yeah, they're besties.
So we're not, but I am actually friends with Jason Momoa's cousins, like first cousins. Like I went to high school with them.
Collab coming soon.
All right, there we go.
Aquaman, here I come. No, but so yeah, if you have to go to like the real like legit Hawaii. But if you ever went to like a Hawaii 7-Eleven, most of them have musubis too.
And poke.
Oh, okay.
Not poke. Not at the 7-Eleven.
But what island were you on?
I was on Oahu. Did I not answer that question? I'm drunk.
No, so I've actually haven't been to Oahu, but I didn't go to many 7-Elevens while I was there. I was totally touristy.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's hard not to.
I mean, Hawaii is so beautiful. Like the touristy areas are amazing. Like every part of Hawaii is like super awesome. Like it really is. But yeah, no, Oahu is where Honolulu is at. So it's like the main island. But I did not grow up near Honolulu. I grew up on the west side of the island.
Okay.
On the leeward coast where Nanakuli is where I grew up.
Leeward.
Yeah. The leeward side. That's what we called it. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Favorite dessert?
Anything chocolate.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is. I'll just eat. Well, actually, chocolate chip cookies. That's nostalgic for me.
Yes, he loves chocolate.
My mom
chip
made those when I was younger, so I'm totally overshadowed by nostalgia.
She would bake him chocolate chip cookies like to take for lunch every day.
Absolutely.
Like every morning, she would bake them for him. Like that's some Southern mama dedication right there.
Not every morning, but you can make an argument for majority.
Yeah. And I like red velvet cake.
Yes.
It's
there we go.
Yeah. So good.
Next one is favorite alcoholic beverage.
I think we kind of answered this already. Okay.
I prefer
tequila.
I mean, beer honestly is easily my favorite. I think I'd prefer IPAs more than anything else.
Okay.
During the winter, some stout, port, something a little heavier, darker, but like IPAs for most of the year.
He's really bougie with beers.
Well, yeah. I mean, people
and coffee.
Coffee and beer, yeah, absolutely.
There we go.
It's so easy to be a snob about coffee and beer, though.
It
really
exactly.
is. See, you take the easy route.
Really?
He said it's easy.
So Eunice, favorite brand of tequila?
Honestly, I think I know this sounds so like cliche, but Jose Cuervo is actually really good.
Okay.
I really like it. Yeah. But honestly, I'll drink any beer.
It's true.
Tequila. That's me being drunk on beer.
Perfect.
I drank
I'll
beer
drink
tonight.
beer. Perfect.
I weigh like 95 pounds, so one beer is like I'm not used to this.
She's almost blacked out. I'm just kidding.
So I have like this huge tequila backstory. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to hear
Let's do it.
So I am from Mexico, right? And so my family is from Puerto Vallarta, which is in Jalisco, is the state, right? And so tequila was invented in Jalisco, and there's a town called Tequila, Jalisco. And so my brothers are tour guides in Mexico. And so they take a lot of people to the tequila refineries and all of that. And so anytime we go to Mexico, I mean, like, they taught me how to drink tequila there. So whenever
drink it.
The first time I decided that, tequila is like my drink of choice forever and ever, amen, is whenever I went to this, it wasn't even related to tequila. It was like horseback riding or something like that. And they're like, hey, we also do a tequila tasting in every single thing you do here. So he saw me drinking. I was like, I'm not too big into tequila. It's too crazy tasting. He's like, oh, that's because you're not drinking it right. So the guy taught me how to drink it. And ever since then, I have been teaching all my friends how to drink tequila.
And I still fail every time.
Yeah, that was like 10 years ago. So I've been a tequila girl since then.
So like, what's like the common mistake? Are people like,
so what you're supposed to do is, so you get, I don't even have it with me. I should have brought a little
lime
glass.
salt and a glass.
But no, see, that's the mistake. You're not supposed to use lime
just for aesthetic.
So you're supposed to just take the tequila and then you smell it. And then you take the shot.
Smell it. Take the shot.
It doesn't even have to be good tequila. Like if you drink it right. So you smell it, and then you take the shot, and then when you finish, you exhale through your mouth, and you don't breathe through your nose for until you exhale all those fumes, and then you're gold. And then you can take like 7 more of those until you pass out.
Well, I have to say I am so excited to like try drinking tequila.
I know.
Yes, I really wish you guys had like one, and I would like do it with you guys and be like, come on,
a
guys.
separate 5-minute video.
Yes,
we
should do that. Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, yeah. If we could do this like when we're recording the intro. And we could get it in time for this episode.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay. So at the end, you can be like, or at the end, you can come in and be like, all right, we have
we'll record the outro.
Let's see if it works.
Perfect.
But you have to remember the rules, though.
I can't do it.
Do you remember what it is?
Yeah. So exhale before breathing through your nose. Exhale from your mouth. Smell it.
Why did you start at the end?
I know that's
whatever your name is. I don't remember your name.
I've already heard the part about like smell it first and then take it down. So the part that I need to remember that I don't haven't done is the exhale part. Yes.
Good.
Yeah, I'm like moving through it. I know I'm going to do it wrong. You can tell me 100 times. It's just tough.
Andy's not very good at following instructions.
And I don't know.
You guys, I hope you guys are.
Liquor's just so extreme. I'd rather just sip on a beer than drink liquor straight up.
Yeah.
But you did say you were okay with tequila lately. You did say that.
Well, I mean, I had a margarita last night, so it's
there we go.
It's a little
different. Next one is mountains or beaches?
Mountains. I don't even need to think about that.
Beaches. I don't even need
to
there we go. That's the immediate answer.
Yeah, I mean, coming from growing up in Hawaii.
Oh, true. I grew up in Hawaii.
Yeah, again, this is nostalgia because I grew up in the Appalachian Mountains. She grew up on the beach in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So it's what you know. Yeah.
I'll go to the beach every time if she wants to because I love the beach.
And I'll go to the mountains every time he wants to because...
Man, relationship goals. Hell yeah.
Man, compromise and balance. Strive for. Yeah. All right. Place that you want to travel most?
Hawaii for me, because I've actually never been, and we were planning on going there.
We had a Hawaii trip.
And she has some family there, so like...
Well, yeah, my family lives there.
Yeah, some of her family lives there.
I have 2 sisters that still live there, and like all my extended family still lives there. But yeah, he really wants to go to Hawaii. I have actually... Gosh, I want to travel to so many places. But I've always wanted to go to New Zealand.
Oh,
there was like when I was in Hawaii, when I was in high school, there was like this like study abroad opportunity to go to New Zealand that I just never, I didn't get to do it. And so I always thought like, I really want to go. And then, Lord of the Rings happened and all that. And, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, dang it.
Let's go to the Shire.
So I've always wanted to go to New Zealand and I really like their culture, I mean, because I grew up in Hawaii, it was like,
fellow island.
Yes.
Right.
So
let's go hang out.
There's a specific tour that you can go to a lot of the shots that they did for Lord.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
I watched a lot of that behind the scenes. That's like pristine earth. It's just gorgeous.
I have always kind of wanted to go to Peru too, though, like to go to Machu Picchu, which this guy already did.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was I mean, we weren't dating at the time, so I'll let
it slide.
I'll let it slide. Even though we did know each other, he could have still snuck me in his bag. I'm pretty small.
I could have. My apologies.
Favorite genre of music and or artist that you're currently listening to?
I mean, yeah.
Andy is an insane music. He loves music.
I love music.
He loves music. He might have. I mean, he probably has about 50% of the knowledge of music as running, because running is 100% no. But he's just.
I mean, I would say as far as my favorite band aesthetic, I always loved Nirvana. And that really was more of the coming of age, angst, grunge kind of thing. I mean, I've grown out of that a little bit, but I still think what they did to music was amazing. I listen to a different band, different artist every single day. Today I was listening to Frank Ocean, listening to Gorillaz. I was even telling you, they're one of the most prolific bands ever. Gorillaz are awesome. So, I mean, right now I'm listening to, there's a group from Savannah called Baroness. They're a sludge grunge band, and they're so awesome. I love what they do. I can talk about this a lot.
Yeah. But so at one point he almost started a YouTube. He debated on whether he should start a YouTube channel about running or music. This is how much he loves running.
Yeah. music.
Maybe that's the business expansion is Total Music Productions. I mean,
there you go.
TRMP. Yes. Why did I hear Total Running Music Productions? TMP. Yeah,
you could do TMRP, Total Music Running.
The weirdest collaboration ever.
Oh, that's true. That's your niche. Your niche is specifically music that gets you hyped to run.
Ooh, I mean, I think that has helped me with the channel also, because like I specifically tailor each video to match the music that I use, and there's a library of songs and you know feelings that I try to persuade in the videos.
He's like good at music, not just like with like actually liking artists, but he actually plays the guitar. And he knows about music, and so he'll be like, oh, this is like something what notes, keys, number, something. I don't know.
Yes, exactly.
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
they're gonna think I don't know anything about anything. Oh my gosh.
That is not true.
You do know things about tequila though, so
that's true. That's true.
I had no clue that tequila's a specific place, location built through it.
Yeah, you're like tequila royalty, basically.
Oh, geez, I am tequila royalty, but I don't know if that really says a lot about me. But yeah, so yeah, he loves music in general.
Yeah, I've subscribed to The Needle Drop for years now. He's a YouTuber, does music reviews, and like end of the year lists is a great way to like stay updated with music and stuff. So, yeah.
Childish Gambino, he was crazy about him for a while.
Still, absolutely.
I love that. Yeah, he has introduced me to a lot of music. Yeah.
Danny Glover is one of the most talented human beings on the face.
Oh my gosh.
There's no one that would disagree with you.
So I started we used to watch Community back when it came out. Yeah. And so like whenever Andy was like, oh, Childish Gambino, like he showed me, I was like, oh my gosh, he's in Community. Like he's Troy.
I remember showing her the video for This Is America.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
I was like, This Is America was like, to me, like, I was just like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Don't
catch you slipping.
So but no, he is amazing. So. But Andy actually never knew he was even in Community. So he was like, what is this? So I actually about 6 months ago, we started watching Community together, and he's like having a hard time like processing. Now he sees like, okay, that's Troy. That's not Childish Gambino.
I actually knew about him through a really old YouTube channel called Derek Comedy. And Donald Glover was on this channel like 2010, 2009. And he was clearly like talented, like one of those early successful YouTube channels before Google bought him out and like started monetizing. And it was so interesting to see his climb to like the very top of acting music royalty. And he is one of the most talented humans. It's anything he does, I'm like, oh snap, we got to watch this.
Right.
Yeah.
If you could be a professional in any sport, what would it be?
Gymnast. I would be a professional gymnast.
Oh, okay.
Really?
I like. So and like when it was like the
you got time to think now.
1996 Olympics, like the Atlanta ones. So I lived in Hawaii at the time, but I remember like doing like fake. I would just like land. I would do amazing landings, right? And so I'd just land and do the. I'd be like Dominic Mucciano, and I would just pretend to be.
Yeah, there's a name.
Yeah. And so there's the name. Yeah. And so if I could be, although. Honestly, like just in theory, just knowing how to do that would be cool. But like I've seen all of these documentaries about how they like are stripped of like any other type of identity except for like gymnastics. And I don't want that. So I would like to be able to do cute flips and land perfectly.
For the actual Olympic performance and like crushing it in the Olympics. Absolutely.
And it looks really cool to be like, oh, hey, look, I can do a backflip, which, by the way, Mr. Andrew, he used to do gymnastics when he was a little kid. And he still can do it. He can do a backflip. So I'm super impressed by that.
It helps in my case.
So if I could just do a backflip, I think that might be I will have reached the end of my goal of being a gymnast. So teach me how to do a backflip.
Yeah, I'll spot you.
Yeah, New Year's resolution. Do a backflip.
I actually have two answers. One, I think it would be just amazing to be a professional basketball player because first off, you could dunk, which is an instant cool thing. Yeah. They're like,
and they have cool shoes.
Oh, they have lit shoes. Absolutely. I mean, I'm just like a 5'9" white guy, so obviously I can't dunk. That would be cool, and obviously to be like a professional basketball player in the higher echelon of talent of athleticism would be cool. But another one that's like kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. I remember having this conversation with like my friend Hunter and Brett to be a professional baseball player, middle relief pitcher. And here's why, because you would only have to work like once a week and you would still get paid like $500,000 a year because they're not used every game. And you would basically get to chill and make $500,000. That's like,
and watch baseball.
Exactly. I mean, you're traveling already. Like you're a professional athlete,
but
you're not like a celebrity. So you can go out in public and you can be like existing without having to worry about paparazzi. And you're still making huge amounts of money.
It's all of the perks without any of the negatives.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's really. So you're telling me that you wouldn't want to be a professional runner?
Well, that's such an easy answer. Of course, that'd be cool. But at the same time,
your face is going to be so disappointing.
I revert back to what we talked about previously. Like to be the top of the runners, like that is what you do. You know, like you're giving up a lot.
I guess the same answer is what I said about being a gymnast.
Oh yeah, that would be insane. Like I mean, huge respect to like the professionals in every sport, and like the sacrifices they make and the time they dedicate and the pain they go through is insane. You know, it's very
you'd rather
admirable.
just use your voice.
I'd rather just use my voice and act like I have clout. Yeah.
Well, no, you don't act like it. You got it. You got it.
Yeah, real clout.
It is different though. Like a distance runner, you like no drinking, no socializing, bed at the same time. Even like go and say football, like if you're a tight end, obviously you can drink. You can, you still have to be like, it's not that it's not peak performance. Like you're still performing at a high level, but it's, you can make different sacrifices that still allow you to be like a quote unquote normal human to some extent outside of the sport. But running, you really can't. Like you're just sleeping, you're eating healthy, you're not drinking, you're not socializing, all that stuff. So I don't even think I would want to be a pro runner. I would totally pick basketball over that.
Like, Look at Michael Jordan's The Last Dance documentary.
Well, that's true. I guess he worked his ass off too.
Okay, but he was also like smoking cigars in the locker room.
Okay, Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman is the
there it is.
Guy.
Oh my gosh,
Dennis Rodman.
Oh, I binged that documentary. That was a fascinating.
It was a great. That was so well done.
Yeah, it's
We want something like that for like Bekele's highest, years, and like that would be such an interesting breakdown because obviously like Michael Jordan is one of the most fascinating figures in athletics history, but for the runner nerds, opening that book up to like big athletes would be so cool.
It would, absolutely. And I'm with you on the baseball pitcher. I've kind of always thought that like being an NFL kicker would be a similar thing. You don't get destroyed, like you don't get tackled. You get tackled like once a season maybe, but you still make like $500,000 a year.
That's a good point. I mean, there's like obvious pressure points. You have to deliver when the pressure is on.
It's very high pressure. You can't miss. But I guess when you're playing baseball, you can't. You only have 10 pitches once a week, so you can't really smack someone with the ball or throw a slow pitch or anything. So
that's a good question.
All right, I want to be a football player.
We all want to be football players. Okay. All right. So 2 philosophical questions that we ask all of our guests so far. You may have heard it if you watched the last episode. So number 1, how many holes does a straw have?
Think about it. We'll do a 3, 2, 1, and we'll answer.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'll count down. Do you have your answers ready to go?
I have mine.
Okay.
And I know the facts of this. I have something to prove.
Oh, geez. Right. I have no idea, but
3, 2, 1, 2.
2.
Yes. Hell yeah. Okay. Here's my reasoning. There's 2 points of opening. One connection, but there's 2 holes. Problem solved.
Yeah.
That's good.
I've stuck to that answer too.
And and in going in and coming out, right?
Yes.
No, yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me. Like 2 holes. Well, actually, there wouldn't be any other answer that would make sense.
Some people say one because it's a connection, but I mean.
Yeah, but no, that's not the hole.
That's the tunnel.
That's the tunnel.
That's the connection.
Yeah.
If you dug a hole through the center of the earth, like to China, is that one hole?
Yeah. No, that'd be two holes.
Oh yeah, that's two openings.
Oh, that's a good explanation to it. Yeah, that's a good explanation.
But you didn't dig a hole, like holes to China. You just dug one hole.
So your answer is one, Chug?
No,
I saw your name on your shirt.
Devil's advocate. That's the other answer is one is like you don't you don't pour water in this end of the straw into the hole and then it like comes out a different hole. It's the same hole. That's the argument.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But in my opinion, like the way I would explain it is that it didn't go through the hole. It went through the tunnel. And
okay, so a hole's just like a piece of
the opening. The opening.
I think physics tells us.
In my opinion, the hole is the opening, and so there's two openings.
There's no wormhole that has just one opening, I suppose.
Oh, that's another good one.
I was trying to get deep and smart, but I think I failed.
No, I understand.
Okay, well, we'll go to the next one then. So is a hot dog a sandwich?
Hell no. That's stupid. I'm sorry. I know this isn't y'all's question.
I've never even heard it be mentioned as a sandwich.
I'm also a foodie.
See how that is a question.
To some degree. Okay, you've got your classic bread, meat, sure.
Andy loves sandwiches.
Yes.
He's into a lot of stuff.
A sandwich aficionado.
He is insanely into grilled cheese sandwiches. Like
it's the perfect sandwich.
Is like he will spend like hours making sandwiches. I used to like sandwiches. I still like grilled cheese sandwiches.
Oh, now you don't because he's too into it.
Yes. Like he used to pack my lunch sometimes, you know, when I used to work at a
deep conversation.
Well, whatever. and anytime he would help me with packing my lunch, he'd pack a sandwich, and I was like, how can you eat a sandwich every single day? He can eat sandwiches every single day, so I can't do that.
I think, but you wouldn't be eating hot dogs then. Is that the consensus is?
I like hot dogs. So yes, I'm going to say a hot dog is not a sandwich because I will eat a bunch of hot dogs, but I will only eat grilled cheese. His grilled cheese sandwiches are amazing. I have to eat them.
Further cater to the linguistic perspective of our relationship foundation, there was time for someone to call hot dog a hot dog sandwich. You're not going to walk up to a hot dog parlor and say, "Excuse me, could I have a hot dog sandwich?" I'm pretty sure you'd get slapped.
Yeah.
You would not be allowed in Chicago again. So
true. Very true.
Burger, there's a conversation for that. But hot dog, hard no.
Yeah, you're right. Like a burger might be called a sandwich, but like not a hot dog.
Okay.
Maybe in the future.
What?
No.
All right, last question. You have 1 day left to live and money is no object. What are you going to do for your last day?
Oh my gosh, Andy and I have actually talked about this before.
I think the answer is pretty easy. Just find the best, most efficient way to spend time with people you care about.
Yeah.
You know, like I think we
wouldn't even do a bucket list thing.
No,
like we would just like hang out, like and see people, like and it would be more like we've had a conversation similar to this where we're like, if we were gonna die, like, do you want to die together? No, I'm just kidding.
Are you? Will you die with me?
So basically, no. So no, we've had a conversation like this pretty recently because we've had like family, not like friends who have had cancer and stuff like that. And so we've talked about like bucket lists, and we're like, we don't really like the idea of like bucket lists because a lot of people do like bucket lists, and then it's like all these things that they want to do that are like, like take them away from like their loved ones when, it's like their loved ones really just want to spend time with them. And so we were like, we just spend time with our family, because this is the last time that they're going to be around us. Like, we're not going to know once we're gone, but like, they're going to have like, it'll be like, I want them to like get to experience the cool me, I'm just kidding. But, they're going to be sad whenever we're gone, just as I would be, if my sister was about to die, I would be like, please don't go do your bucket list thing. Just hang out with me tonight.
True.
Yeah. And so I think that if money would be no object for our answer because it wouldn't have anything to do with money.
That's very wholesome. I appreciate that. No, that's great. That's great. Well, I'll say thank you for coming on. Hope to meet you in person in 2021 at one of these track meets.
For sure.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll be really excited too.
Yeah, thanks again. And that was our interview with Eunice and Andy of Total Running Productions, giving you the behind the scenes of how they got started and where they're at today, plus a little bit of their personal lives and their story outside of Total Running Productions as well.
Okay, so we were gonna do a beer of the week, but Eunice gave us some really good tips on how to drink tequila, and I just so happened to have a little bit left of my Patron Silver, so we're gonna go through those tips.
I don't know. I don't even know when the last time was that I've had a tequila shot.
Oh, mine was last week, but anyway.
This man, professional tequila drinker, but actually amateur according to Eunice, because we weren't doing it proper.
Yeah.
I've heard the method of you sniff it, like twirl it around a little bit, kind of like you do with wine, and then you pull it back. But I've never heard the last part of her tip, which was exhale from your mouth to get all of those fumes out before you breathe through your nose. And then apparently that helps with the taste. This is what she says.
Yeah.
We're gonna try it out.
No salt, no lime, no chasers, no nothing. We're just gonna do it raw.
We're gonna do it live.
I'm getting like a pre-smell in.
And is this cheater tequila because it is, nicer, higher end? Or at least the people say that is, or at least the marketers tell us that it's a higher end. Yeah. I don't know if it actually is a higher end.
I don't think it's cheating because we're very new to the method.
That's true.
Maybe once we master it, wow, this is literally only 2 shots left.
This is more about the execution, right?
That's amazing. I literally only had 2 shots.
Perfect. And it was in the freezer too, so it's money. Okay. So we sniff.
Take a little sniff.
Take the shot. And then exhale, but keep your nose kind of...
Exhale from your mouth.
From your mouth only. Right. From your mouth only. Okay.
Right. And then we'll rate it out of like 10, how we feel that.
Yeah.
How that shot
went. The
went.
drinkability, the taste, and the X factor.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Let's
just
do
like
it.
we always do. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers to Eunice and Andy from Total Running Productions.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she's right.
I mean, it's basically like spicy water if you do that.
She's actually right though. The immediate exhale, it must be, here's my uneducated thought. So it must be that when you take it down and then immediately you kind of just like have a reaction to it, it comes up through your sinuses.
Yeah.
And then that's actually, like the smell is the taste. And I know that's true. You can taste things based on your other senses, your smell.
Yeah, I mean, so like in terms of drinkability, I would do that a few more times. I'd give it like a 6 or a 7.
That was surprisingly fine. I would say on the rare occasion that for whatever reason you're trying to have yourself a night, then sure, drinkability, plenty high, doable.
Yeah.
Doable.
Taste, I feel, is like so much better. Like I've always made fun of people for buying like those sipping tequilas. But maybe I'll consider it after, being in the know, knowing the method.
I feel like I'm a whole new person. A whole new person. Man, if only every college kid knew these things.
Yeah, seriously. Tips. This should be like in your
college 101 guide.
Yeah,
your college orientation. Hey kids, you shouldn't drink, but if you're going to, make sure you breathe out through your mouth.
I think it should be like, okay, you have the class on like, here's how to use the library. You should have a class on like how you should drink tequila.
Proper alcohol techniques.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a class, at least there was at Iowa State, of wine tasting, whiskey tasting. I can't remember what it was called exactly, but this should be part of the curriculum.
I think so, for sure.
Excellent. Well, thanks for tuning in. That was a great interview, a little bit of a longer one, but totally worth it, with Andy and Eunice of Total Running Productions. Make sure you check out their videos if you haven't. You probably have if you're listening to this because they're pretty big on YouTube, but we appreciated having them on. Hopefully we'll do some more collabs with them in the future. Comment below, who do you think we should have on as future guests? As well as what are some other collab ideas we could do with Total Running Productions? We want to hear your thoughts and your opinions. Anything else you want to say, Adam?
Yeah, congrats to Eunice and Andy on their engagement, which I'm sure is announced by now. But yeah, super happy for them during, making the best of COVID times.
Absolutely. Cheers, everyone. Have a great week.
with that, we hope you enjoy the show.